I think the fourth quarter was really interesting. Like that was actually a really fun game. And I think the fact that the Bulls were able to make it sort of a comeback. I mean, they were down 16 with like 4 minutes to go, and it was close throughout. And then the Pelicans kind of just took their big lead there. And I think those are kind of the moments throughout games where you try to figure out like what this team is doing that you can try to fix, because those are like the droughts that get this team in trouble, right? Like when they're not able to get into their offense quickly, the game really slows down. It bogs down on them. And Billy Donovan after the game was talking about how the Pelicans were switching everything that was kind of taking them away from getting into their early offense, whether that be, getting into quick threes in transition, getting to the rim, even just getting it to Vooch in the post. Like they weren't really able to do that because of the way that the Pelicans were switching and kind of forcing them into isolation shots. And Billy just said, like, that's not our team's strength. And so when we get forced into doing that, that's not the best versions of ourselves. And Zach kind of echoed the same sentiment after the game. He was like, look, I mean, we tried to beat the Pelicans at their game. We didn't play our game in the fourth quarter. And I thought that was really interesting because I think this whole season the Bulls have done a really good job of playing to who they are, which is fast, out in transition, getting downhill, spraying it out, and shooting a ton of threes. And while they did that, I think they kind of got back to it a little bit there towards the end of the game, but it just wasn't quite enough to where they could make a miracle happen, as Zach said. So, interesting game between two teams that I think are talented. Pelicans underachieving a little bit relative to their expectations, but one of those games I think you can learn from, just in terms of how can you avoid getting bogged down in those fourth quarter minutes, and how can you move forward, understanding what you need to do to avoid having those offensive dry spells.
Will, we saw Billy Donovan do what you absolutely love, and that's run two bigs out there on the floor with Jalen Smith.
You know me so well, Dave.
With Jalen Smith and Nikola Vucevic. Did he give any reason to that, talking to you guys in the press, about why he decided to run those two guys out together?
He kind of mentioned it. I think basically at that point in the game, he was just looking for anything that could really work. And he felt like and he this is not what Billy said. This is, our analysis, my analysis of it, which was that Patrick Williams was really struggling. He did not have a good game, as has been true for the last couple. And so his minutes got cut down quite a bit. And Billy said after, like, he wasn't really looking at it that way. That was more just like the game kind of called for me to either go big or go small. And he tried the Jalen Smith lineup out there for a little bit when they had Zion and when they had Daniel Tice together, and then quickly went away from that. But he basically had Vooch on Zion there. And I think he felt more comfortable with that matchup just because of Vooch's size and ability to guard the post, which is what they were trying to do with Zion. They were trying to get him the ball on the block and then force the Bulls to send two to the ball where he could spray it out. And they found shooters, they found drivers that way, and that was really killing the Bulls. So I think he just wanted to throw some size at Zion, but it's just he's such a unique talent, such an interesting player that, like, he's got the guard skills, but the big body and the size and the just like strength of a big, but the shiftiness and the ball skills of a guard. And that's a really tough thing to cover for Vooch, for anybody. And so just you got to try different things out. And, when some of your younger players aren't playing as well, then I think you just have to get a little bit creative there.
We all silly like the mayor.